The sand lashed her face like glass as the red seal was nailed to the tin door. The guard's hammer sliced through the dry air as her mother's body sagged in her arms. The reek of diesel, cold sweat, the jaundiced light of late afternoon suffusing the street with dust and murmurs. She bit her tongue to keep from screaming and tasted blood. Today, on the rough market floor, she understood. The desert doesn't merely consume water, it devours names as well. Humiliation unfolded in swift succession. The soldier jotted down the house number, laughed at her faded ID badge, and demanded to know who would pay the debt for the confiscated well. Her mother trembled. Neighbors lowered their gazes. The loss wasn't merely monetary. It was their home, their reputation, the last thread of a surname that once commanded respect. Clutched between her fingers was an envelope containing crumpled medical reports. If the surgery wasn't performed within days, her mother would never walk again. She raced to the hospital. The air in the reception area reeked of stale metal and cheap disinfectant, searing her throat. The clock's relentless ticking underscored a weight that inflicted pain. The clerk repeated with a hollow voice, "Only authorized patients." A proper official endorsement was lacking. Her father's name surfaced, buried under a law that had stripped the family of their well in the neighborhood of its honor. She inhaled, burning from within, and glimpsed a glimmer of hope in the forbidden words whispered in the corridor. Only a signature from the palace would open the door. Would you go? She tried to count coins. She tried to articulate her pain. The security guard looked at her calloused hands and read a definitive refusal. Protocol was a windowless wall. The plastic edge of the envelope cut her skin, and the blood drew a thin map of fury. Everything in her screamed, "Go." But go where? If the path was blocked by an emblem she had never even touched. The corridor smelled of boiled linen. Low sobs echoed through the tiles like wind. At the window, forehead pressed against the cold glass, she no longer saw the girl from the neighborhood. She saw the woman who had learned to cut through lines and escape pitfalls, even when no one could name her courage. She heard, whispered from mouth to mouth, the words no one was supposed to utter. Only a name from the palace can tear through a seal. Tomorrow would already be too late for her mother's body. So, who would she need to become to turn the key? Her father used to say, "Water is destiny." He dug the first well with his own hands, laughing crookedly, singing off-key, promising that their name would never harm anyone. Then came the expropriation. Then came a clean-inked document stealing a livelihood stained with calluses. Then came the sweet-smiling minister who, with a steady hand, signed the injustice no one dared to read aloud. The district whispered that up high. No one remembered faces, and that no woman could endure his company. What kind of man upholds a kingdom yet forgets to look into people's eyes? Far from there, he materialized, a figure in motion, not merely a legend. In the inner courtyard, a falcon sliced through the sky as he raised his arm, the leather strap cinching his wrist. The bird returned with a precision that rendered the silence palpable, like glass, dark attire, an unblinking gaze, the impeccable cut of his beard, sand clinging to the sole of his costly shoe. Men who had been speaking loudly fell silent. The very air seemed to shift temperature in his presence. And yet, across the city, a person fought with visceral desperation to keep her own mother upright. Did he sign documents without hearing the street's faint cries? In the dispatch chamber, stacks of papers lay. His favored counsel spoke of maintaining schedules. He nodded, weighing alliances, his right hand steady, his left rested heavily on the pen. The kingdom's map was order itself. Within its confines, invisible scars of history. Inside a box, he kept a broken compass and a falconer's ring, heirlooms from the one who taught him to listen to the wind. He had vowed not to feel, not to yield, only laws, only peace bought with distance. But what if a name from below were to pierce that veneer? She returned home, burdened by grief and a resolution. She settled her mother in bed, secured the scarf with a firm knot, brought water in a chipped mug, and blew on the tea until it cooled. The room smelled of ancient dust and cheap soap. Her mother's breath punctuated the night. She rested her forehead against her mother's and vowed, silently, that she would not let time dictate their fate. Today, she resolved to cross the gate everyone shunned, a tall gate, forged of iron and history, that swallowed names and spat out numbers. In the market, before departing, she sought out eyes that still truly saw. The elderly florist spoke of a side gate through which deliveries entered noiselessly. Inside, she recounted, the air carried the scent of incense and a chill, and the carpets were so plush they almost hurt. And she reiterated, firmly, no woman lasts with him. He discards names as if they were gloves. She listened without faltering, storing the information as one might sheath a knife at their belt. And what if the entry were by error, an error or a calculated strategy? A memory stirred warmly within her. As a girl, she used to press her ear against the palace's white wall, attempting to steal stories through sound. The rustle of falcon wings, subdued voices, suppressed laughter. She had promised herself that if she ever crossed that gate, it wouldn't be to beg. It would be to demand what her father had called just promises exact a price. And that price now bore the insignia of a coat of arms. What would she consent to break? The house seemed to shrink as she packed her bag. A change of clothes, her mother's medicine box, the envelope containing the lab results, her father's faded handkerchief, smelling of sun and toil, an ancient coin, a worn amulet. She wrote her own name on a piece of paper and stitched it into the lining of her dress. A futile yet potent gesture. If the world tried to erase her, proof would remain. If the desert swallowed names, would it be able to spit hers back out? In the broken mirror, she adjusted her scarf, not out of shame, but strategically. She met her own gaze and saw a hard, thin line that hadn't been there yesterday. She rehearsed what she would say to the guards. She wouldn't beg. She wouldn't lie. She would tell the truth with the composure of one who has no other recourse. If the door didn't open, she would pound until her bones ached. Her head remained held high. Who did she need to become to save those she loved? She left when the wind shifted, pushing against her back. The dust bit at her ankles. Motorcycles spewed smoke. Boys played soccer in torn sneakers. The road to the palace seemed designed to weary the weak. The sun was descending. The sky was heavy with orange and iron hues. Each step whispered, "There's still time." Every shadow murmured, "Turn back." She did not turn back. Would you cross, with your heart pounding in your throat? Near the intersection, a patrol stopped a man carrying a bag of bread. The guards and voices cut through the air. Power was this. To remind another of their insignificance, she neither veered off course, nor quickened her pace, nor feigned fear. She passed as one carrying an invisible letter. It was merely courage, but in that moment, it felt like armor. The palace announced itself high above, like a ship stranded on the sand, marble reflecting the sky. Delicate lines bearing the weight of centuries, clean, gleaming blue grates. Histories her neighborhood would never witness firsthand. She paused and filled her lungs. The scent changed. Incense, air conditioning, a cold promise. You do not belong. Indeed, she thought, and yet here I am. Inside, he hung up the phone after a difficult negotiation. His voice was low and steady, devoid of fluctuation. Discipline masked his weariness. The council demanded resolve. The rival tribe demanded a marriage. He had banished the word love from his vocabulary. What purpose would it serve, save to hinder? He opened the box, touched the broken compass. The metal was cold. A memory bit at him, then receded. And what if the peace he carried in his chest wasn't silence, but anesthesia? She reached the side gate, indicated by the florist. A shaded corridor led to a glass security booth. The guard scrutinized her, noting the faded ID badge, the envelope E, and the steadfast scarf. She stated her mother's name and invoked the law that constrained their lives by protocol. She requested access. She sought no grandeur. She pleaded for time. The guard replied stonily, "No seal, no entry." The silence then became a weapon. She paused, breathed, and stood her ground. A car swept across the courtyard. In a fleeting glimpse, a hawk-like figure alighted on a leather-clad arm. Poise, calm, precision. His presence altered the atmosphere. He vanished behind a column, leaving a resonance her body couldn't quite name. It wasn't awe. It was a premonition. If you believe in second chances, leave a comment. Sometimes a chance arrives cloaked in risk. The guard reiterated his refusal. She recounted the story in reverse. From the well's usurpation to the decree, from her father's plight to the hospital, from her mother's urgent need. His eyes flickered for a second. The regulation reasserted its gravity. "Come back tomorrow," he said. Tomorrow was a luxury she could not afford. The envelope burned in her hand. Time within those walls was of a different order. Who decides when someone's pain becomes urgent? She took a step forward. Small, resolute. She said, "I'm not leaving. I will wait in the shadows until someone listens to me." The guard sighed in exasperation and made an internal call. The phone rang. A voice answered. A name was mentioned. She treasured every syllable as if it were gold. Her name, for now, remained outside. Her destiny, however, did not. And now, if to save her mother and reclaim the well she must relinquish her own name, her own history, and assume a role not her own, would you stay or would you retreat? Comment below what you would do, because the next door will open, or it will break, and someone will cross. Who? The door yielded an inch. Cool air touched her skin like water after a fever, the scent of leather, ink, and mild tobacco. Her heart hammered loudly. She entered, measured steps, jaw set, and she knew she had traversed the boundary no one from her neighborhood dared to cross. He raised his eyes unhurriedly. The light carved dust motes in the air. First he saw the scarf, then her sun-scorched hands. Lastly, her gaze. A silent impact opened a fissure in his chest. It wasn't astonishment. It was recognition. Of what? Nadir stepped forward with the manual. Name, district, reason. She answered softly, without hesitation. When she stated her surname, something long dormant stirred within the depths of his memory. His father's archives, a faded photograph, a signature that carried consequence. Where had he read that name before? She held the envelope to her chest as one would guard a living bird. She recounted what truly mattered. The usurped well, the decree, the hospital, unsealed, closing its doors, the mother lying prone, the unforgiving clock. The words emerged pristine, like a polished blade. He listened with the ear of his office, and with the hidden ear of his childhood. The broken compass in his pocket pressed against his skin. It reminded him that North doesn't heed decrees. To be just demands courage. To be swift entails risk. He breathed and hesitated. Nadir unfurled the map on the tabletop. Red, black Iwarao blue dots. Her district a dry well. The most senior counselor cleared his throat. If an exception is made, a queue will form. He cut in without raising his voice. I do not make exceptions. I pave the way. The room stiffened, as did he. She felt their gazes weigh like stones. Poor, obstinate, displaced. Fear ascended. It halted at her sternum. It remained there, domesticated. Courage donned the same attire. If you believe in second chances, leave one in the comments. Sometimes the impossible needs to hear its name spoken aloud. A messenger ushered in a shadow. Car demands a response by sunset. No betrothal, no water. The word marriage traversed the air and settled near his shoulder. Obligations. A truce born of no affection. He did not love. He signed. And signatures both save and condemn. She didn't grasp the specifics, but she perceived the gravity. A market woman stirring the axis of a marble table. They whispered on street corners. No woman lasted with him. She didn't seek longevity. She craved water. She craved her mother, and justice with a face. He requested the envelope. He read it as one relearning to breathe. A crooked stamp, an erroneous date, firm handwriting. At the end, a handwritten phrase. Water without a name is a sentence. Such a line doesn't spring from naught. It originates from pain, and from a tongue that refuses to be muzzled. Nadir cited the seal, the flow, the manual. He raised his palm and wrote, emergency authorization, immediate transfer, surgery at the earliest hour. The silence reverberated. The pen's metal indented the pad of his finger. Between the decree and the pulse, he chose the pulse. Would you choose differently? She closed her eyes for an instant. The world tilted, then righted itself. Thank you. Just that. 2 syllables that pierced his chest like a needle's point. Gratitude bears weight, because it reveals that someone could have refrained, and did not. He went to the leather shelf, pulled out the gray folder, interdictions, papers redolent with dust, a photograph of her well. In the corner, a man with a hat in his hand, pride stretched taut. Her father. The signature at the decree's footer bit into his retina, his own. He had signed without seeing the face. Whom had he seen when he neglected to look? She perceived, in the faint tremor of his thumb, that his armor bore a chink. The most powerful man, with a faltering hand. Her heart drew back a step, then returned. That was not weakness, it was human. And human is dangerous, for it draws us in. He closed the folder. The order, provisional revocation of the well's interdiction, subject to immediate audit. The chorus of cautionary voices sought to erect a barrier. He held his ground. Today, haste, typically a killer, in that moment transformed into a remedy. Would it prove so? She did not release her grip. The hospital needed the seal now. He was already affixing his signature to the second document. The stamp, a firm stroke. He handed it to Nadir. The rule yielded a hinge. The atmosphere shifted. Those present sensed it. Did you feel it too? He gestured toward the side door. I wish to speak with you privately. 3 words that sent a ripple through those listening. The door closed. The two remained. A rectangle of light on the carpet, and the cry of the falcon slicing through the afternoon. He pressed his fingers against the cold wood of the window frame. Your father? Alive, she said. Broken. The well had been a lung. He now breathed less. Brief, unsparing phrases. He nodded, and then he uttered what was typically left unsaid. I signed that. With haste. With a certain detachment. The pain is mine as well. She offered no absolution, nor did she inflict further harm. She merely returned it. Pain does not restore water, nor time. He breathed. Yes. And time, here, depends on me. The word me carried weight. When had he allowed anything to bear such weight upon his own pronoun? He removed the falcon ring, spun it on the table. It came to rest, pointing directly at her. I want you present at the audit. I want you to articulate what I fail to perceive. Be in that room. She receded a millimeter. Me? Why? Because those who have lost truly discern, and I need to see. Her mind raced home. Her mother, the scarf, the mug. I will come on the condition that my mother is transferred to the palace wing. Today. He did not smile. He signed. The snap of the seal sounded like a brake engaging and an engine igniting. What would you have demanded? They returned to the large table. The room simmered. Transfer. Audit. 2 pillars that seemed to shake the very foundations. The woman with the clipboard tightened her bun until it ached. The rumor spread among the crests. No woman ever lasted. Would this one begin? Or had she already ended upon entering? He requested files from 3 districts. And coffee, black. No sugar. His hand hovered for a second above the cup, to feel the warmth before drinking. An ancient ritual, a matter of survival. Sometimes, ritual is what grounds us. She observed papers that smelled of ink and layers, names subsumed by numbers. She spoke sparingly but pointed extensively. This date does not align. This stamp ought not to be here. This account does not reconcile. He wielded the pen. A short, surgical gesture. Their rhythms aligned. Unbeknownst to them, a counselor bared disguised venom. Do you intend to teach the palace to read? She did not take the bait. I intend to remind you that the act of reading can be a parching endeavor. The man coughed forth his own arrogance. He suppressed a nascent smile. To acknowledge the truth is a luxury few can afford. A note was delivered by a page. Car is pressing. Their channel has been compromised. They demand an immediate response. He pocketed the paper, feeling the broken compass graze his skin. Destinies now exact their toll, and it hurts. She watched the shadow flit across his countenance. She grasped the entirety without comprehending the specifics. He bore the burden for many, yet he too was parched. For what? Order? Redemption? She dared not venture an answer. The audit had encountered a formidable obstacle. Her Wells decree lacked his handwritten signature. Instead, it bore an automated stamp of absence, dated for a day of travel, a hunt with his father. The air grew thick with tension. Someone had sanctioned a claim for resources without truly seeing the claimant. Who benefits from such a system? He felt his anger rise, disciplined, like a kettle just before it whistles. He looked at Nadir. Who possessed the authority to affix that stamp during that shift? Names, cameras, schedules. Today, Nadir assented. Loyalty, meanwhile, regarded itself with suspicion. She thought of her father standing by the fence, the no delivered by a machine. Her voice was low. If an error has an owner, so too does its redress. He concurred. Redress will not wash the blood from the stone, but it will cleanse its grime. Are you willing to dirty your hands? The telephone chimed. East Wing confirmed. Transfer in progress. She closed her hand over her father's coin. For a fleeting second, the world coalesced into sense. Did hope have a scent? In that instant, it did. Alcohol, crisp linen, and the fresh air from an open window. He gazed at the sky through the window pane. The afternoon was bleeding into coppery hues. Carr's emissary would arrive imminently. The response would bear the taste of iron and the weight of a formidable wall. Discipline listened. The heart cried out. He chose to heed the former and silence the latter. For now, she wished to express her gratitude anew but found no novel words. So she simply worked. Another erroneous date, another shoddy ledger entry, another name reiterated excessively. He realized she was making him think in ways he hadn't for years, with a newfound empathy, yet without sacrificing precision. This both unnerved and captivated him. A knock at the door, sharp as a stone, dropped into a still lake. A captain. Leak confirmed. Pressure falling. If no accord is reached, Carr will close the sluice gates at dawn. The city will run dry. The gravity of the situation seemed to shrink the very table before them. He inhaled slowly through his nose. Then he made his decision. Turning to her, he said, I need you to remain 30 days. On the council. By my side. Help me cleanse this mire. In return, your district first, and the well, should the error be proven, shall revert. Nadir swallowed hard. It was exceedingly audacious. Or was it the singular opportunity to bend time to her will? Her legs faltered, then steadied in the same breath. 30 days confined within the palace walls. 30 nights watching over her mother from the window. 30 distinct paths to forfeit her identity. And a man who tolerated no one by his side. No woman endured. Could she? He saw the question take root in her eyes and dropped anchor. Your mother remains here. Under my aegis. Under my name. He did not lightly bestow his name. A name was both sword and shield. He offered it. The chamber held its breath for a suspended moment. Power often bends the knee in understated gestures. She grazed the edge of her pocket, where the copper coin lay, warm against her skin. Her gaze drifted to the window. A falcon cleaved the sky, a living exclamation mark. She turned back to him and asked, What do you desire from me beyond the truth? The silence was a shroud and a blade. He responded without pretense. Let her bear witness to the answer I shall give Carr. Let her speak, without fear, if I err. Let her remind me, should I forget, that water bears a face. A simple plea, yet immense. To be a witness carries more weight than to supplicate. Would you accept? Nadir snapped a folder shut. The captain awaited. The emissary was but 3 corridors distant. The marble floor seemed a frozen river. He extended his hand to her, not as one who claims, but as one who invites another to cross a threshold together. Stay. Help me shore up what is unraveling. She regarded his hand, then the door. She heard her mother's heart from afar, as if the very palace had registered its beat. A demarcation line separated her 2 lives, the one without and the one within. Should she cross it, she would be irrevocably altered. Perhaps this was the singular path to salvage both. And the cost. The doorknob turned. Footfalls drew near. Voices, silken and sharp as a blade. Carr's emissary approached, driven by both avarice and political machinations. She had but moments to decide. Remain and traverse the fire alongside him, or retreat and seek another means of salvation. What would you do in this moment? Share your thoughts below. For sometimes, a single step redraws the entire map, and she stood precisely at the precipice of that leap. Forward or back, she made her choice. Her hand met his, swift, warm, resolute, a wordless affirmation, and the door yielded, as if in recognition of her courage. Carr's emissary entered with noiseless and sandy steps. His raiment was light-hued. The air carried the scent of exotic spices and heated metal. His eyes gauged avarice in numbers, not in countenances. He inclined his head at precisely the appropriate angle. Welcome. The leather scroll case settled onto the table. Treaty, deadlines, a condition forged in iron, an engagement to be announced today, publicly. She stood a step behind, positioned beside Nadir. He saw the falcon streak past the window. He also saw the powerful man's fingers linger on the table's edge for a second too long. They appeared calm. They were not. The emissary unrolled the map. His finger traced blue lines, valves, topography. He closed the scroll, the contested clause still unresolved. No covenant, no water. The city does not subsist on promises. He set down his pen. His voice came low. Nor does the city countenance blackmail. The air grew taut. Have you ever felt an entire room hold its breath, awaiting a yes that could cost a soul? The emissary noted her presence. Who is this? Nader moved to invoke protocol. She stepped forward. Someone who partakes of what you sign. The emissary offered a humorless smile. And who are you here? She did not flinch. The correct question is, who goes without water? He received it like a stone skipping across a lake, finding its mark. The emissary lifted his chin. This matter concerns men and offices of power. She took a breath. She scrutinized the map, pointed. That valve is outside the topographical limits. It will rupture. Nadir leaned in, confirmed it. The error was there. Subtle, deadly. The emissary's brow furrowed. Where did you learn this? In life and in thirst. The silence deepened, gaining a perceptible weight. He felt pride and threat in the same breath. When someone reveals what you've overlooked, a debt is incurred. Debts alter trajectories. His was beginning to shift. The emissary regained his composure. We will correct the design. We will not alter our demands. An announcement today. He held his breath. The water flows today. The announcement, in 48 hours. Do you seek an agreement or a spectacle? The room became utterly still. The emissary placed an ancient coin on the map. Carr does not negotiate from the shadows. He reached into his pocket. The broken compass scratched his skin. North wounded. Courage intact. She touched her own coin. Warm. She remembered her father. He who lies in the first sentence forfeits the right to the last. Was she ready to overturn the narrative? The emissary pressed the raw point. Without an announcement, we closed the sluice gates at dawn. He straightened his posture and did the unthinkable. He removed his signet ring bearing a falcon and laid it on the map. My name for 48 hours. If I fail, Carr's word holds more weight than my own crest. A collective sigh escaped the room. Nader closed his eyes for a fleeting second. The emissary weighed metal and risk. A name does not quench thirst. Oaths do. We want yours. Now. In public. He did not even blink. And what if you lie? Carr is no rubber stamp, the emissary retorted, swallowing his own words. The game folded in on itself. The emissary's gaze fixed on her. Will you bear witness? Confirm that he did not waver. His gaze sought hers. Hers held steady. A sword and a lighthouse. But can you bear the weight? She remembered the east wing, her father at the fence. From the gate that did not consume her whole, she spoke without faltering. I bear witness to the truth. I do not conceal lies. If he makes a promise, I hold him to it. If he errs, I speak of it. Who endures such a woman in a room reverberating with male voices? He exhaled a fleeting sigh of relief. It was precisely what he had sought. A truth that cuts. A cure that stings. The emissary turned towards the balcony. The city will hear, and it will decide for us. If you believe in second chances, leave a comment below. The corridor echoed his steps like drumbeats. The afternoon spilled copper onto the walls. The hawk landed on the parapet, restless. The wind carried dust and people. He walked ahead, shoulders rigid. His hand almost touched hers. Almost. The invisible line burned. Nader whispered, "If you promise, there's no turning back. If you don't promise, the city will wither." He did not reply. Destiny beat against his chest like a drum. The square was a single entity. Murmurs, eyes, children perched on shoulders. He spoke of the leak, of the agreement, of the clock. He measured his words. His eyes betrayed the human beneath, the fear of bringing everything down with him. The city hears what remains unsaid. She witnessed the impossible. The man who charted destinies laid bare his soul to the judgment of the very ground. When he offered the 48 hours, the square became a sea. Hope and distrust intermingled. "Do you believe?" The emissary raised his hand. "Carr demands a vote now. A public commitment. Name and date." He looked at the square. He looked at her. The compass wavered. The ring felt heavy in Nadir's pocket. Everything threatened to collapse. She returned his gaze. "If you promise without certainty, you become a deceitful stone. If you don't promise, someone will die of thirst. What does courage mean to you? Comment below what you would do." He lowered his chin a millimeter. The word rose from the depths. Before he could leave, a crack echoed from the south. Shouts, thick dust, the smell of rust. Nadir brought his hand to the radio, a faltering voice. They breached the old conduit in her neighborhood. Pressure dropping. Panic. She took a step, an instinct to run. The emissary tightened the knot. "No vote. We shut down both channels. Now. Cruelty wears silk. It arrives precisely when evil is due." He looked at the people, looked at her, looked at the emissary, and took a breath. "I accept." The word dropped like a stone into the lake. No turning back. He would fulfill it, or lose himself. Her legs gave way a millimeter, then steadied. Rage and relief danced together. It wasn't about her. It was about water, about dignity, about who chooses to bear the greater burden. The emissary smiled. "Then speak, before your people." He straightened his shoulders. The square held its breath. And, before binding fate to another's name, he looked at her. He asked for what he had always asked for: truth. She felt the wind lift her scarf. The falcon sliced through the sky in a single line. If she confirmed, the water would come, and a door would close upon him. If she refused, the city would pay the price. Can love be born within such guilt? Her voice rose in her throat and stopped behind her teeth. An elastic second, an entire world contained there. The south was burning. Her mother was breathing in a ward of white sheets. He held a nation between his fingers. And she, a single syllable. She opened her mouth. A murmur from the square swelled into a wave. The bugle raised its bronze. The emissary leaned forward, ready to seal. Her heart beat 3 times. Strong, clean, and yours. What would it say? Confirm now and save the city, come what may, or stay silent and bet on tomorrow's truth. Comment below, because her word, in this instant, could divide the map. And your map, how would you divide it? She spoke. Her voice came out clear, despite the wind and the fear. "I bear witness." He did not hesitate. "And I bear witness further. The water now opens to the south, under my gaze, under his name." The square leaned forward. Her breath sustained thousands. Have you ever felt a city caught on the thread of your breath? The emissary closed his mouth for a second. The scent of new iron. "We open according to conditions. A vote requires an announcement, name and date, today." He did not yield. "The water opens now, due to urgency, nadir, contingency 3. Palace reserves for the south. Trucks in 5 minutes. Carr accompanies, or assumes the delay." The murmur rose like a wet promise. Buckets raised. Children on shoulders. She felt her heart beat to the rhythm of footsteps below. Hope has haste, has thirst, has a face. And you, would you place your name before the signature? The emissary smiled with sweet venom. "If you use reserves without a seal, it's a breach," he replied dryly. "I call it a breach of humanity to leave a district dry for ceremony. Choose the weight you wish to carry." Nadir was already running, radio in hand, his voice commanding. Trucks, bypass, gloves, keys. The falcon cut a semicircle and flew south. She saw the falcon as a mirror of his chest. Tense, free by obligation, bound by care. They descended. The corridor echoed their steps like drums. "I'm going south," he said. "Me too." The emissary lifted his chin. "The vote, the announcement." He cut him off. "The city doesn't drink announcements. It drinks water. Meet me at the old valve, Mangrove Avenue. If you back down, bring the courage to look into the eyes of those you leave dry." Gates, dust, short sirens, hot metal. She got into the car beside him. Upholstery scorching, cold sweat, hands in her lap, a silent prayer. Have you ever prayed guided purely by intuition? The train plunged into the neighborhood. Windows flew open. Eyes, shouts, opinions, sharp as stones, grated against the metalwork. He gazed as if rediscovering his childhood. The scent of cheap bread, a ball thudding against a gate, maps morphing into flesh. She pointed. "Right. Mud Street. Behind the market will arrive sooner." He assented. His power submitted to her geography. A sovereign learns the lay of the land from an innocent wound, and that changes everything, doesn't it? Water trickled down in rusty rivulets. Mud. Children playing amidst the peril. Mothers tethering their children with their voices. The leak's gurgle was an old man's cough. It pained them both. Differently. Identically. Pain acknowledges pain as a mirror. He disembarked before the vehicle came to a complete halt. The stench of rust and raw sewage. A film unspooled in his mind. His sister vanishing amidst the chaos of the water tanker. His mother's shriek. Water turns into a knife when it arrives amiss. There, he swore to command the city's thirst. That oath became both his armor and his wound. She knelt by the conduit. Hot metal. A clean incision. It wasn't weariness. It was a deliberate hand. Sabotage. She indicated the edge. "Look at the serration. A tool. Dawn." The emissary offered a faint smile. "Accusations are but smoke. Proof is required." She took 2 steps. A glint in the sparse undergrowth. A metallic clip, an engraved K, a conjoined half-circle, a signature, or a ruse. His heart quickened. Her hand remained steady. She handed it to Nadir. The emissary spread his arms wide. "A K from any factory, a half-circle from any blacksmith. The city is replete with Ks." She pocketed the clip. The copper coin grazed against the fresh metal. 2 sides of a story searing the tongue. A subtle hook. Minor evidence. Monumental impact. "Do you believe in clues that fit neatly in a pocket?" A young girl arrived. Her clothes sodden. Her eyes wide. He unslung his canteen. Knelt in the mud. The most powerful man knelt for a love whose name he hadn't yet learned. For a child. For a memory. For a nation. If you believe in second chances, leave a 1 in the comments. The girl drank in measured sips. Her mother wept silently. She witnessed it and hardened inwardly. Yet, simultaneously, she softened. Desire and reverence intermingled. She averted her gaze. Resumed her task. Bypass here. Sever this segment. Connect over the ancient wall. The map indicates it's abandoned. It isn't. It belongs to those who still endure. He listened. Offered no dispute. Nadir, as she had stated. The route over the wall. The team aligned conduits. Wrenches bit into nuts with a decisive grip. Labored breathing. Sun dripped down their necks. Time brooks no slow deliberation. 3 men emerged from the narrow alley. Scarves obscured their faces. A black box held aloft. The air grew taut. Nadir drew his weapon and his voice. Simultaneously. "Halt!" The emissary recoiled. She stepped into the chasm between intent and action. "No, not today. There are children here. Blood contaminates water. Do you want to bear the burden of this?" The one in the middle gritted his teeth. He lowered it a hand's breadth. The box wasn't a bomb. It was a camera. Live. They wanted a spectacle. Narrative pays the bills. Those who buy into spectacle buy guilt. She inhaled and disarmed them without touching. Nadir took the camera without humiliation. Today, the city watches water flow, not panic. The trio vanished. The emissary narrowed his eyes. The truth extinguished the lucrative spectacle. Brief interlude. "Have you ever doused a fire with your voice?" She did. A gaunt man, sun-weathered, arrived with an old strap. "Use this. It will hold until dawn." She recognized him. "You watched me grow up." He smiled wryly. "Those who carry buckets see everyone, and remember those who promise and don't return." He listened. It stung. If he didn't return, the promise would rot. The radio crackled. Trucks arrived. Hoses connected. Clear water surged into the labyrinth of buckets and basins. Shouts turned to laughter. The neighborhood exhaled. So did she. The sound of water is a prayer. Relief exacts its toll. "How do you pay?" The emissary prodded. "The name." "Speak it." He stared at the flow. The name danced but wouldn't emerge. There were bars in his past. She realized. She moved closer, softly. "If the name is a prison, speak it truthfully, and then remove the bars. You demand this of me. I demand courage." He nodded, almost imperceptibly, and went to hold a heavy pipe. Power became muscle. The light shifted color, copper and lilac. The water burst beautifully through the makeshift outlet. A wordless sound rose from the neighborhood. He closed his eyes, let his shoulders slump, raised them again. Balcony, name, data, a clip in her pocket, and the certainty. Sabotage bore a signature. Perhaps not cars, perhaps from within. She held up the clip. "Tomorrow, we audit live. At the fairground warehouse, 7 a.m., with the people." The emissary smiled inwardly. "We audit under Carr's seal." He countered. "Under the seal of those who drink, come, or abandon the stage you claim to love." They returned. In the car, she was exhausted, her mind alight. He glanced sideways. "Thank you." She paused before accepting. Then, a tilt of her chin. "Don't thank the obvious. Thank the water that obeyed." He smiled defenselessly. The radio crackled. East Wing, Mother Stable. She closed her eyes, swallowed 2 tears. Hope standing firm. The palace lit up. Balcony alive. Microphones. Lights. The crowd was a nocturnal sea. He spoke of the water in the south, of the repair, of the trucks. Succinct, truthful. He turned to the emissary. "Today I fulfill the first part. The rest at dawn." The emissary took the microphone. "Carr calls for a vote now. Name and date. Otherwise, conditions will dissolve into sand." He took a breath. He thought of his knee in the mud, of the girl, of the clip, of her face, and he chose a word that stung. He uttered the name. Not hers. The name of the grid. The deadline, 15 days hence. The square murmured. Bitter. Necessary. Is love born from discomfort, or does it perish there? She took a step forward, grasped the microphone. I bear witness that he did not falter when the water demanded it. He shouldered the South's burden, and tomorrow, at 7, we will audit this city's wound. In the open, with the people, with Carr, and with the clip I found, the throng sighed. Evidence. A vow. The people. The falcon alighted on the low wall, its eyes, razor sharp. The wind carried the scent of night. He turned his face to her, for a single second. Thank you. She met his gaze. Silence was her reply. Mini-hook. Have you ever stood on the precipice of something unattainable, and, nonetheless, lingered? The multitude dispersed. Tarpaulins were folded down at the market. The emissary approached. Tomorrow at 7, in the warehouse. And the knife-edged whisper, if you accuse Carr in the warehouse, we will open the floodgates instantly, live on camera, and we'll say you orchestrated it. He froze. His blood ran cold. She held his gaze. Come with clean hands. I will come with mine. In the corridor, the walls seemed to absorb their breathing. He leaned his hand against the cold stone. She felt the coin in her pocket. We are here. Nadir brought 2 glasses of water. Their hands brushed for a fraction longer. Warmth. A faint tremor. He cast his eyes down. I won't ask you to stay if this becomes a cage. It already has, she thought. And yet, I will remain until the water yields. She merely said, I'll stay until morning. If you believe in second chances, leave a 1 in the comments. A messenger hastened to them. A concise envelope. A wax seal. It wasn't Carr's doing. A falcon with a fractured wing. Ancient. From within. He read it. His complexion drained. What is it? The bride. It's not Carr's handiwork. It's a piece from my own council. An internal coup. 15 days is the deadline for them to depose me with a semblance of grace. The sand shifted beneath his feet. She felt the ground liquefy into mud. The one who severed the conduit might well sign this document. The enemy was not in the south. They were at home. Within. Closer. Mini-hook. Does betrayal from above wound more profoundly than rain seeping through a window? Have you ever endured it? He raised his gaze. Iron resolve in his eyes. Tomorrow, in the warehouse, I won't just confront Carr. I will confront my own house. And ultimately, it is before you that I wish to succeed or to fall. Can you bear to witness my downfall? The coin seared her palm. I can bear it, but I would rather see you rise. The night crackled with hurried footsteps. A resounding thud from the inner courtyard. Are we in danger? Nader was already on the radio. The captain's voice. Fractured. Intruders in the east wing, where Mother sleeps. The world constricted. He and she exchanged glances. They ran together. The corridor became a tunnel. Lights streaked past like blows. The Falcon took flight, a cry tearing through the night. A door to the right led to Mother, another to the stairs where the men were ascending. Comment below. Which would you take first? Because now, a wrong choice could exact a toll of 2 lives. And you, which door would you open? He chose the stairs. She, Mother, a simple gesture. A cut across the chest. Go. I'll hold them. He nodded. A millimeter of weakness, unyielding strength in all else. They ran in opposite directions. 2 hearts, beating in unison. Have you ever torn yourself in 2 to save what you love? The east wing smelled of disinfectant and winter. Cold light. A curtain flapping. Mother slept in a blinding white. A shadow near the console. Faltering steps. A hand on the wire. The sirens crawl through the silence. She didn't scream, she whispered. Let go. She needs the machine. You need air. Release it. I'll get you out of here. The intruder expected no mercy. He loosened one finger, then another. The wire fell. 2 guards rounded the corner. He ran. The machine stabilized. Mother sighed. On the baseboard, an old sticker, a falcon with a crack in its wing. From within, who once protected, now became the entry, and you, whom would you let in? He climbed 3 flights, stone and sweat. 2 men descended, boots like drums, cloth masks. Behind them, a coat too thin for the night. The council, eyes ancient, from his father's time. He stopped, dropped his weapon to the floor. Let's talk. Here. Now. The coat gave a short laugh. Talk won't secure the stairs. Force will. He whistled. A streetwise sound. 2 side doors burst open. Staff with fire hoses, water as argument. Cold, relentless. It pushed without harming. Boots slipped. The masked men retreated, cursing through clenched teeth. The coat remained, ice in his eyes. 15 days, you leave without a push. He vanished into the mist. He breathed, panting, saw his own cracked face in the puddle. The sovereign was falling from within. His father's voice returned, a rusty whisper in his ear. Never trust those who drink from you. Shame burned. Now he needed everyone. And you. Have you ever swallowed what you swore to deny? She sat on the edge of the bed. Mother opened her eyes. The color of a forgotten river. Daughter, you brought the sound of water. Her voice was low and firm. The broken falcon, the old guild seal, half-wing, people who hold half the city and sell the other half for gold. She rested her forehead against the warm hand. A clip in her pocket, a wax-sealed envelope, the sticker on the baseboard, the pieces aligned like teeth in a cog. Half-wing was the house. Inside, he found her at the intersection of the corridors, wet, alive. He recounted the story of the coat, of the whistle, of the shame. I brought Carr to quell the thirst. I ceded the palace to Half-Wing to retain control. I lost it nonetheless, and I almost lost you. The phrase struck her like a wave, hot, perilous. This was not the opportune moment. I did not exploit you, she stated. I harnessed courage, for the city and for myself. If you must fall, fall headlong, where I can witness it. He extended his hand, halting it mid-air. The unspoken touch bore a heavier weight than any embrace. The silence seared. Have you ever ached for what remained untouched? Nader emerged, ring in pocket, the radio sputtering, a conundrum and a boon. The sluice gate software had been sabotaged. Cut-off clock, 20 past midnight. An ancient safe behind the panel. A fractured falcon seal, a half-moon lock. The ring was meant for the lock. The maintenance room, the scent of dust, weary iron. The ring slid in, turned, an ancient click. The door opened a mere crack, then fully. Folders, pressure maps, photographs of pipes, K-stamps with a half circle. Today's leak, meticulously planned weeks prior. Memorandum, selectively disrupt in the event of electoral refusal. Utilize media to incriminate local leadership. Signature, Urban Sovereignty Council. And, in handwriting, validated by the cabinet. He recognized the initial, his father's. The floor seemed to vanish beneath him. He pressed his forehead against the metal. I am the inheritor of this transgression. The palace that forged me is the very hunger that consumes the city. He crumpled internally. She placed a hand on his shoulder, not for solace, but to keep him upright. Do not inherit, disrupt it. Now, tomorrow demands evidence, not excuses. Will you deliver? The radio blared. Pressure was plummeting in the west and south. The emissary, smooth-tongued. The audit can wait. The populace comprehends. The palace will decide. He cut the connection. For the first time, he severed the silk. He embraced the course. A brief thought. Does courage possess a sound? Sometimes it is merely the click of disconnection. They spread the folders across the table. Nadir photographed them. He dispatched the images to public channels, not governmental ones. The camera crew was summoned. If we are to film, we shall film the truth. Live. In the warehouse. Unedited. The shadow on her face transmuted into light. His mother emerged in a wheelchair. I wish to see. I have scrubbed too much blood to avert my gaze now. He unlatched the window. A fractured courtyard lay before them. A mere trickle seeped from the hoses. A fleeting smile. There's still time. Do you hear? The water still yearns. The lights flickered. The clock skipped forward. Temporal sabotage. 2 avenues, Nader stated. The sluice gate room. Assume manual control, risking a 24-hour shutdown of the north. Or, open the subterranean gate. The ancient river will flow in, saving the south. The imperial garden floods. The palace loses its verdure. The elite, their repose. Do you believe in omens when a decision cuts you to the core? It weighed heavily. It wasn't water against water. It was history against privilege. The garden has parched the city for years. Perhaps it needs to learn to lose. But there are people working there. The graveyard shift. It's not mere luxury. It's livelihood. Halting the system punishes the South for yet another day. The fever returns. A child pays the price. What kind of justice is this? The mother closed her eyes. Open the river. Those who carry buckets know how to dry out the garden later. Those who never have, learn. Justice isn't taught without drenching the feet of those in power. The East Wing sprinklers activated on their own. Fine drops. A blessing. Or an alarm. He heard it as a sign. To open the river. They descended. Subterranean level. The scent of damp iron. A heavy door. A wheel crusted with old grease. Hands on the metal. Shoulders to the task. He closed his eyes for a second. He saw his sister. He saw the girl. He saw her. He turned it. The water descended like a gentle thunder. The ancient river scraped history through the pipes. Above, in the imperial garden, the earth received its first onslaught. Puddles beneath statues. The dormant fountain awoke unbidden. The sky didn't fall, but the elite's slumber did. He switched on the radio. Done. She heard the water's impact against the walls. The mother's monitor stabilized. The safe open. The evidence scattered. The cameras, now on the right side of the narrative, focused on the relevant documentation. She lifted her chin. We'll tell the story. Live. Before dawn. Tomorrow has already begun. If you believe in second chances, drop a L1 in the comments. The lights flickered intensely. Alarms blared in the palace. Message from the council. Arrest warrant issued in her name for sabotaging the floodgates. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor. On the screen, the river's flow fluctuated. The map trembled. The wheel grated. The emissary called. "If you don't stop, we sever the north supply." The mother coughed. The monitor's reading climbed a notch. The truth weighed like too much water in the jar. Both their hearts pounded with a hollow sound. Fear and desire shared the same chest. And now, do they rush to stem the flow in the subterranean level and prevent the river from taking everything? Or do they lock the east wing doors, protect the mother, and save the evidence that could bring down the half wing at dawn? Comment below. Which life do you risk first when the price of one choice is losing the other? He looked at her. 2 paths, 2 losses. "Go," she said. "Stem the flow. I'll close the east wing." He nodded. Fear breathed with them. And yet, each went their way. Have you ever divided your own resolve and prayed not to shatter? The subterranean depths greeted him with cold and rust. Nadir by his side. The sluice gate wheel groaned with stale grease. The display flickered with ailing figures. 110, 112. If it reaches 120, it'll burst, Nadir growled, and the garden will turn into a muddy torrent, engulfing people. She pushed her mother's bed to the most sheltered corner. A groaning wheel, a scratching sheet. The radio vibrated in his pocket. A warrant for her arrest. The emissary's honeyed voice. "Open the door, dear. Let's talk." She wedged the door. She secured the latch. Today isn't about dialogue. Today is about water. Brief interlude. Wet boot prints in the corridor. 3. The 4th, erased mid-stride. Someone retreated. Fear leaves its mark. Does yours give warning? He bore down on the wheel with his palm. On 3, 1, 2, 3. The metal shrieked. The needle climbed. 115, 116. Sweat trickled down his brow. A feverish memory returned. His younger sister. Lungs searing. Ambulance delayed. Not again. He opened the old bypass by 2 degrees. Risk of rupture. Risk to life. He signed with his skin. The east wing transformed into both a stage and a trench. His mother, awake, with eyes like an ancient river. "Display the truth where they'll find it," she said. She dragged the strongbox to the chair. Open folders, pressure maps, seals, photographs. The table became an altar. When they strike, the evidence will strike back. The steps stopped on the other side. The captain's voice dropped. "I'll rap with my gloved hand. It's theater. They're filming. Understand?" She raised her chin. Understood. If power stages a spectacle, the city deserves the spotlight. Brief interlude. The emissary's voice on the frequency. "If you exit now, we guarantee your integrity. If you resist, we'll implicate your mother for complicity." It struck where it hurt most. Would you yield? 118. The ground beneath them shuddered. Nadir held his breath. The north gate flashed red. "They cut it intentionally," he stated. He took off his jacket, wound it around his hands. He twisted it again. The rotation abraded his skin. Little blood. Much searing pain. He didn't stop. It hurt, and the pain persisted. She beckoned the camera crew through the narrow window. 2 trembling hands extended the lens. The red light flared. Her breath misted hot onto the microphone. "City, you don't need my name. You need your own back." She held up the memorandum. Urban Sovereignty Council, selective curtailment, signature, and the handwritten addendum, date, time. Those who severed your water supply plotted it at a table. Brief interlude. The chat feed swarmed. District names, emojis representing people. A private message from the emissary leaked onto the display. "If you silence yourself now, we'll clear your record." Would you concede silence to save yourself? The bypass yielded a fraction. The water found another conduit. The needle dropped to 114. Nadir offered a fleeting smile. "Another degree, and it will stabilize." "And the garden?" he inquired. "Flooding. Slowly. Just enough to serve as a stark reminder to those who've never truly experienced hardship." The captain rapped 3 times. A gauntlet thrown, a scene set. The small pane slid open, eyes locked. She saw her mother, saw the lens, saw the incontrovertible evidence, saw a woman fearful yet resolute. The captain comprehended. The directive was severe, but the city's plight was graver still. Minnie Hook. His voice broke through the live feed, raw with pain, breathless. I was an inheritor of the mistake, he declared, and I became an accomplice. Today, I opened the river. I take full responsibility. The city collectively held its breath. Have you ever uttered words you never believed you'd possess the courage to speak? The father's name fell like a honed blade. The initial, scrawled in the memo's margin. He heard it from the depths of the underground, his chest seared, yet he chose to remain in the open. It pained him. He endured. He would not retreat to the shadows. The corridor swelled. A prosecutor, armed with documents, a more formidable camera, a uniformed officer, his fear of salary palpable. The captain's face hardened. The wooden wedge groaned under strain. The door rattled violently. The iron shrieked for succor. The coin seared her pocket. She recalled inadvertently entering the palace. A bundle of clothes, an open portal, a tenacious fate. No woman ever lasted with him, they used to say. Yet she remained, not for him, for the city, for herself. She was no delicate blossom. She was rock. Minnie Hook, the emissary, cast his bait. We will nullify everything if he announces his marriage to the council's chosen bride. Today, at dawn, broadcast live. Would you barter the truth for a ring you never chose? He heard. His body momentarily froze. His father would have assented. Power, after all, thrives on obfuscation. He wiped his bloodied hand on the hem of his shirt. He ascended 2 flights of stairs, each step a mounting burden. Nadir gripped the wheel. Go, Nadir urged. I'll manage the pressure. He sprinted. The east wing seethed with anticipation. The captain stood resolute in the center. The prosecutor brandished his legal tomes. His mother, chin defiantly raised. She, with the coin clenched in her palm. He entered. A profound hush descended, akin to a church. The emissary's smile was frigid. Well, he prompted. He knelt, not before the council, but before her, before the gaze of the entire city. I will not exchange truth for another's imposed bond, he declared. If I must forfeit everything, I shall. If you decline, I will rise and fight nonetheless, but I will not wed a lie. Marry me amidst the waters, amidst the peril, in this very moment. Minnie Hook. The world shuddered. His mother chuckled, tears welling in her eyes. I've never witnessed a sovereign plead with soaked knees, she murmured. Have you ever observed pride learning to truly breathe? She reached out, touching his damp hair. A minuscule gesture, an entire cosmos encapsulated. I cannot offer you a shield, she stated, only the unforgiving street. Join me, without an altar, without a charade. He nodded, rose slowly. The captain lowered her weapon by a mere centimeter. I have orders to obey, she declared. Then obey. This one, his mother interjected sharply. Protect those who protect, the prosecutor bellowed. Imprisonment. Obstruction. His finger trembled more vehemently than his words did. The coin clinked against metal, a sharp, clear sound. She raised the memorandum once more. The signature remained steadfast. Yours faltered. Was it fear or culpability? The chat flared up again. North, pressure returned. South, water restored. Garden, my feet soaked. Council, silence. A falcon had flown in through the window. A significant fissure marred its wing. It perched atop the safe, a wax seal. Within, 3 lines of text. Carr's message was succinct. The rendezvous at the warehouse is immediate. Before sunrise, come alone, or the city pays the price. What would you do? He lifted the note. The emissary feigned poorly rehearsed surprise. The captain swallowed hard. Nadir's voice crackled over the radio. Stable for now. But if he exits, the stakes escalate. 2 locations, 1 body. She unfolded the map. The service tunnel connects the east wing to the aqueduct. 2 turns. A grate. I'll take my mother and the evidence through the tunnel. We'll approach from below with the captain. You hold the sublevel for 10 minutes, then make your escape. Confront Carr live. Unedited. He stared at her. It was madness. It was the sole viable recourse. The captain made the executive decision. Half with me, half stays to secure this position. The prosecutor protested vehemently. His objections were drowned out by the urgency of the moment. Would you jeopardize your career for justice? The tunnel reeked of lime and mildew, the squeal of a chair wheel, muffled footsteps. Water dripped with the relentless rhythm of a clock. His mother spoke in hushed tones. When I used to scrub the neighborhood's floors, it was always like this. Darkness, fear, and courage, walking in lockstep. He returned to the sublevel. The needle quivered between 113 and 114. Nadir tallied the seconds. 10, 9. The world condensed into a mere digit. He gripped the wheel as one grips fate itself. His fingers ached. His shoulder burned. He held his ground. Over the radio, Carr's voice resonated. Too late for compunction? Bring your confession. Leave the washwoman out of this. In the tunnel, she offered a mirthless smile. I go where the water flows. And you. The aqueduct's mouth opened toward the district. A cold wind. The scent of laundry on the line. In the distance, the garden statue had water at its feet. Its first cleansing in decades. Symbol or mere water. It served its purpose nonetheless. The cameras quivered with cold and apprehension. The city watched, uninvited and unabashed. They reached the rear courtyard of the warehouse. Silhouetted figures of Carr's men adorned the rooftop. Radios crackled with hushed chatter. The captain gestured. 2 sharpshooters, 3 sentries. The camera crew deployed their tripod. The briefcase containing the evidence was tucked into the corner. The mother took a steadying breath. She clutched the coin. He remained miles away, bound to the wheel of fate. 2 black sedans. The emissary alighted, a brittle smile on his face. Too late, he informed her. The council assumes control. You are denied entry. The captain interceded. She enters. I'll remain where the bullet lands. He materialized from the alley, sullied by grease and water. Shoulders set low and resolute. Her gaze locked with his. Time itself hushed. Desire and dread commingled in the shared atmosphere. He positioned himself beside her. Together, before the sealed door. The lock grated from within. Carr's voice. Arid. Enter with clean hands. I'll enter with mine, he retorted, his tone unwavering. The city enters with us, she asserted. The red indicator light pulsed. The chat channel seethed. The hawk, perched on the railing, fell silent. It was a premonition, or perhaps mere exhaustion. Mini-hook. Nadir's voice crackled over the comms. Delay, and pressure escalates by 2 points. Enter now, and the council releases the north. A game of knives. Do you cross the threshold into darkness or await the blade's descent? He pressed his forehead to hers. A solitary second. Only breath. No vows. Decision. He inhaled deeply. She gave a firm nod. The captain raised her hand. 3, 2, 1. What now? Do they breach the door, confronting Carr with the unvarnished truth, while the council sets its sights on their backs? Or do they retreat a single step to secure the mother and the evidence beyond reach, thereby forfeiting the opportunity to galvanize the city live? Share your thoughts below. Would you cross now, or defer for a minute that might exact a life's cost? Should you subscribe to the notion of second chances? Indicate as much with a 1 in the comments. Her hand closed around the lever. The frigid metal bit into her skin. She registered her own breathing, her mother's, the city's hum. She pulled. The snap was stark and abrupt. The warehouse lights dimmed by half. The generator sputtered and died. In the pervasive damp darkness, only the nascent thrum of the pumps could be heard. Water surged, akin to a reawakening heart. The camera flickered, then failed. Black screen. The chat devolved into silence. The emissary afforded himself a fleeting smile, convinced of his victory. From the ceiling, the rain continued its obstinate descent, and outside, a cacophony of mobile phones illuminated the night. People documenting, voices narrating. The truth had leapt from the window. Mini-hook. On the hawk's ankle, a verdant dot persisted, glowing. Nadir murmured into the comms. Mirroring active. The sky still speaks. Would you possess the temerity to silence your own voice, trusting that the world will clamor on your behalf? Underground. He registered the discharge. The pumps siphoned power. The wheel eased its rotation. 114. 113 and a half. His arm quivered. then ceased its struggle. The hospital exhaled. He leaned his forehead against the cold iron. A single second, just one, and then it was done. Within the warehouse, the darkness carried the scent of chlorine and iron. Footfalls scraped across the concrete. The emissary pressed forward. Papers, now thoroughly dampened, glistened on the floor. The captain straightened her posture, gaze fixed downward, voice firm. No one touches the evidence. Not today. He hesitated. He faltered. Unadulterated fear. Interlude. The bride attempted to flee via a side route. Her heel snapped. The waterlogged hem of her gown caught on a nail. A graze on her knee. A sound of human agony. Glamour bleeds when the water rises, doesn't it? She activated her phone's flashlight. A stark circle of light illuminated the emissary's face. He recoiled, averting his gaze. Shadows cannot withstand unadorned truth. Carr took a step forward, hands raised. I'll stay. I'll tell what I know. The city deserves a witness, not a martyr. Outside, the people of the garden pushed back the black cars, with hands accustomed to bearing market burdens. A deep, resonant, and beautiful chorus swelled. Water for all. Justice in the light. The mother clutched her coin and nodded, her ancient river eyes endorsing the current's flow. Interlude. The radio crackled. Nadir's low voice. Signal being hunted. Drones in the sky. 3 minutes until they sweep the area. Do you hold fast or retreat? He emerged from the corridor, slick with grease and rain. Shoulders slumped, but jaw resolute. He saw the flashlight beam on her face and understood. She had chosen life. And yet, the truth had not perished. He offered a faint smile. This is it, he uttered, barely audibly. She touched his arm, a brief contact. Marry me in defiance of the odds, he had said, and there they stood, united by their shared resolve. The captain secured the emissary with plastic restraints, not out of malice, but by protocol. Carr sank to the ground, his legs weary. He spoke into the darkness. The northern contract, the veto clause, the pre-dawn meeting, names, timings. The dripping water punctuated each disclosure. Interlude, a thunderous thud on the roof. Drones. The green indicator on the scanner flickered rapidly. Nadir exhaled sharply. Last route, the aqueduct clear for 5 minutes. Then, lockdown. Do you make a run with the evidence or stay to suffer the consequences and attempt to prove your claims? She met her mother's gaze. The elder woman lifted her chin. I walk. Take what is weighty. She passed the coin to her mother. Keep it. It brings luck. But today it signifies courage. Her mother smiled. The trembling hand became steady. He and the captain retrieved the sodden briefcase. Carr held up the remaining document. The bride, in the corner, wept for her broken heel and for her name, which was already circulating on cell phones outside. The emissary attempted to speak. Water gurgled forth. No commands were issued. Interlude. A gunshot rang out from outside, not meant to kill, but a warning. The crowd roared. The drone descended too low, caught a splash, wavered, and plummeted like a tin bird. What if the people learned to fell what flies? They sprinted down the narrow corridor. The aqueduct's stone maw opened. A cold wind, the scent of fresh laundry on the clothesline. The city had awoken before the sun. Footsteps echoing. The falcon flew ahead, a stubborn green light, guiding like a dim star. He paused for a second at the edge. He looked back. The hangar still breathed. The captain closed the metal door with her elbow. Carr remained inside. Choices laid at his feet. I'm going tomorrow, he said. I'll go to the council with honest shackles. She nodded. Tomorrow doesn't exist without today. Minihook. Her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. Do not return to the palace. They want to make an example of you. Silence pierced her chest. What do you do when your home becomes a trap? They descended the ramp. Water lapped at their shins. Nervous laughter from one of the camera crew. The mother, resolute. He, beside her, hand poised to offer support. Stopping midway. She could, and he knew it. Respect became a gesture. Above, the first lights of dawn touched the garden. The statue, washed clean. Children emerged with buckets. Faces turned skyward. The news. even without a signal, had already spread by word of mouth. The old city, the one without Wi-Fi, had also awakened. Mini hook, nadir, last minute. The pressure will stabilize, but I will answer for the deviation. If I disappear, they'll hunt me down. If I stay, I'll hold the line for you. Do you protect those who protect you? In the alley leading to the wide street, two paths lay ahead. To the left, the hospital. To the right, the plaza before the palace. He looked at her. She looked at her mother. The captain waited, weapon lowered. The falcon circled. The sky brightened a shade, and her phone vibrated again. An image, her face, on the street screens. Wanted, alive, or silenced. She stopped, breathed, and knew nothing would ever be the same. She saved the North, saved the present. But what about the future? The city wanted more than water. It craved destiny. It craved a crowned head on its knees. He touched his own throat, where the knot resided. I stand by you, he said, even if the world wants to see you fall. And now, do they rush to the hospital and reveal themselves, risking arrest and turning the dawn into a trial? Or do they vanish via the market route, spread the evidence among 1,000 hands, and let the city speak for them? Comment below what you would do. If you believe in second chances, leave a 1 in the comments.